Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
It's Jeff. Really nice today. Hot, yeah, in the 90s. Very hot today. It's supposed to be this way for the next 2 days. But everybody's enjoying, even though it's hot. I mean, they like the sun, and you know, people are out. I see a lot more people out near the lakes and the rivers and stuff, lately, and fishing and whatnot. It's really nice. And today I was down at the restaurant there, Texas Roadhouse, and people in there talking about going down to Old Orchard Beach. And so, yeah, it'd be nice to go down there, especially when it's hot like this. It's really nice. But it was a person that was telling me today that business down there has been really slow, and a lot of the hotels in that area are just vacant. So when the Canadians said they weren't coming down to visit in Maine, they meant it. You know, they meant it. You know, and so it's really sad, but understandably sad. You know, it's like, you know, when someone dies, I mean, you're sad, you know, but you understand death is a part of life, right? But when you piss off a whole country, what do you expect these people to do? I mean, they're going to let you know they don't like that. And this is what they're doing. They're teaching this country a lesson that you cannot look at us like we're third class people here. We are Canadians, and, you know, we will be treated respectfully. And if your president can't do it, then we don't want nothing to do with any of y'all. Okay? So, yeah, I mean, I can't blame them. Can't fucking blame them. So, yeah, it's sad that they're not coming around. And, you know, Governor Mills here in Maine tried to go up there to Canada and plead with them to not strike off their vacation plans to the state. But this was done on principle, you know. And you know, she's talking about a time where we could get have people come down here, but with Trump in office, that's not going to happen. And you know, I don't know why she tried to convince them that, you know, and yeah, you might be welcome in Maine, but the federal government's going to be in Maine, and they're going to be watching, you know, for anybody that's here without any permission. So nobody wants that. So anyway, I got a couple of videos here for us to watch, and this first one is from Kyle Kulinski, and he's got kind of a how can I say this? It's like a funny thing going on with Chris Cuomo. Is that how you say it? Cuomo? Is Cuomo? Chris Cuomo? Okay, I don't know how you say that, but anyway, you know, apparently Chris found this AI video of AOC saying some things that, you know, any logical person who knows AOC would know she would never say. But because it's AI and it can duplicate a voice and it can take an image and make it look like it's talking, okay, he fell for this. He saw that clip and he ran with it and tried to, you know. So he got caught with his pants down, and Kyle is making fun of him. So let's watch that video here and we'll come back and talk about it.
Welcome, everybody, to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends. Today we're going to be talking to Jennifer Welch of the I've Had It podcast. And
very excited.
Yeah. She's had some moments. She's had some good moments.
Yeah.
If I don't say so myself.
Well, I think the first time I saw them was they did an interview with Rahm Emanuel that was just spectacular.
Torched.
So good. She just wasn't putting up with any bullshit and came at him and was like, oh, who are these ladies?
Yeah.
Where do they come from? And then I started watching them and I was like, wow, this is amazing. They went after, a bunch of Democrats who are taking money from AIPAC, and they went on a tirade about like, we are not going to be shamed and smeared as anti-Semites because we care about what's going on here. So I think they're really, first of all, I think they're really talented and extraordinary. I also think they're very interesting in terms of the mood of the Democratic base.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. So I'm looking forward to the conversation too.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, let's start with this, Crystal. I don't know if you've been seeing Chris Cuomo crashing out hard, but man, is he crashing out hard. I mean, it's like hard to watch type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So first, let me show you this, everybody. So Chris Cuomo tweeted the following. Nothing about Hamas or people burning Jews' cars, but Sweeney Jeans ad deserve time on the floor of Congress? What happened to this party? Fight for small business, not for small culture wars. And so Chris Cuomo says that and links to a video of AOC on the floor of Congress, right? Here's the problem. It's AI. It is literally marked as AI, okay?
Doesn't it say like parody on it or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
So now AOC responded to him and said, this is a deepfake, dude. Please use your critical thinking skills. At this point, you're just reposting Facebook memes and calling it journalism. So before we continue, I want to show everybody what AOC said in this fake AI video. And remember, Chris Cuomo thought this was real. Watch this.
Sydney Sweeney looks like an Aryan goddess. And the American Eagle Jeans campaign is blatant Nazi propaganda. I mean, fuck. Watching that sultry little temptress squeeze into a Canadian tuxedo, 3 sizes too small, with her bouncy little fun bags on the screen staring at you, piercing through the core of your soul with those ocean blue eyes that could resurrect the Fuhrer from his grave in Argentina, is something that should alarm every American citizen, because in America, beauty is not defined by whiteness. Oh no. It is defined by the number of victim groups of which you are a member. Skinny, attractive, blonde-haired, blue-eyed cisgender women descend from the slave daddy oppressors of this nation. And any man who cranks one out while thinking about a woman like this probably hates black people, probably hates gay people, and they certainly hate the diversity of our great nation. So I say, instead of simping for the Sydneys, we should be celebrating the Shaniquas. Instead of worshiping the hot, straight blonde, what about the obese alphabet, people with blue hair? They need love too. And to all the haters who say companies that go woke, go broke, I'd rather be poor than a fucking Nazi.
It literally says on the top of the screen, parody 100% made with AI. She was talking about Sydney Sweeney's fun bags and talking about dudes cranking one out.
What did she say? Like daddy slave masters or something?
Yeah, and she said, like, instead of talking about the Sydney Sweeneys, we need to talk about the Shaniquas.
Yeah.
Like, bro. Now, here's my guess. I don't even think he watched the video.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, I think he just saw that the text on the original video said some shit about, like, AOC addressing Sydney Sweeney's jeans ad. And then he just saw that and fucking rage fired a tweet off, you know? But this, I mean, this is...
Which
now,
would be less embarrassing to just admit to that than what he's chosen to do instead.
Yes. And so now let's talk about what he's chosen to do. So now he goes on his News Nation show, which has viewership of around 7.5 people, give or take. And he does one of the non-apology apologies. Take a look at this.
You listening? I was wrong. I was tweeting today and saw a clip of AOC saying that Sydney Sweeney ad was racist. And so I replied to it and I said, why do you care about this and ignore what matters most? Why, in all the times that you've called on Israel to stop, why have you never told Hamas to stop, told Hamas to surrender? Why would you ignore the St. Louis attack on that Jewish guy who had his car bombed? AOC tweeted back and said, dude, that's a deep fake, that Sydney Sweeney ad. You suck, in so many words. And she was right. They got me. AI. It was really good, and it did seem like something she would say, but it wasn't her. So I thanked AOC for correcting me. But I then reminded her, she ignored the part of the tweet that mattered, okay? Not Sweeney, which really should have never been a thing, let's be honest. Why did AOC, the most popular Democrat in the country, powerful, reportedly ignore what I asked about calling on Hamas to surrender to end the war they started? She has never said that I could find. Think about that. She also ignored my question about saying nothing about the American IDF soldier who returned home only to have his car firebombed in America by anti-Semites. Why? Why wouldn't you say anything about that?
I love when he's like, it was really good. I mean, it really sounded like her.
We might need to shut down AI completely until we can figure out what the hell's going on.
We need to shut down right-wing boomers completely until we can figure out what's going on, because that's a real problem.
Yeah, and Cuomo's so pathetic. Like, he was on CNN, he was like a typical CNN type establishment voice. Then he's out in the wilderness, so he realizes I got to get in new media.
Completely.
Teams up with the PBD guys.
Yep.
And, oh, would you look at that? Then the slow transition starts. Because he's a little weak-minded bitch with zero principles. And it's like, when in Rome, hey, they're all leaning to the right, and they get positive reaction from their audience.
Yep.
So now I'm going to start leaning right.
Yep.
And then he has this News Nation show, and he fucking humiliates himself on a daily basis. He's had a hate boner for AOC now for quite a while. Ever since AOC came out and endorsed Zoran, and Zoran beat this guy's shitty brother, Andrew Cuomo.
Who's now trying to beg Trump to help him to beat Zoran.
And so ever since then, he's been going hard at AOC over the dumbest bullshit imaginable. And it's so fucking frustrating. It's like, we all see what you're doing, bro. And also, he's done a 180 on Trump. Now he tries to be like a Trump whisperer, sane-washing guy, where he's like, well, I think what Trump really meant was this, and that actually makes sense. I don't even disagree with him on that. He was defending Trump on the Epstein file shit.
Oh, my God.
I mean, that's some shit. Even some right-wingers, Alex Jones was struggling to defend him on that shit. And you're out there leading the charge? People why is this guy in politics? It's not for you, bro.
So true.
Politics is not for you. Yeah, I get it. Your daddy was Mario Cuomo, and he was a New York governor, and it's like a dynastic family. Go pick up some other shit.
I know.
Go get a hobby. Go play fucking
There's
pickleball or something.
so many examples of that where you look at this, but you're like, you know, you would not be in politics if it weren't for the fact that that's like the family business.
He doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't care about it. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't care to know anything. He doesn't think of what he's trying to pull off here. The move he's trying to pull off. I saw a fake AI video of AOC. Therefore, the real story is, why don't you condemn Hamas? Like, what? Like, gotcha, AOC. You know,
also,
like, what are we doing here?
Bro. We are at a point now where they are literally enacting the final solution on Gaza. Like, they are literally starving people to death on a daily basis. Every day they kill 100 or fewer people by shooting them when they're trying to get food.
Today, Thursday, is when we're recording this. They are voting in the Israeli Security Cabinet
to
about
take all of
the
Gaza.
Total annihilation plan.
Right.
This is not theoretical. This is not, oh, that's what the fringe is saying. That's what the lefties are. No. They are taking a vote on a plan of total annihilation. That's what's happening. It's out in the open. It's not a secret. Not that it ever really was. But if you are still defending this at this point, you belong in The Hague. Like, if you are out there doing media propaganda for this modern day Nazi regime, it's beyond disgusting. Like, it's out. There are no words for it.
And that's all they have is, why don't you condemn Hamas? Or you're an anti-Semite. It's like, do you fucking hear yourself? It's like saying, I'm sick of all the anti-German racism in 1941. Right? Like, hey, what about the moderate Nazi? Like, that's what you sound like right now.
You know, he actually responded to my Slotkin interview in a way that was so confusing to me that I just didn't even respond.
I didn't see this. What did he say?
Yeah, he quote tweeted, somebody had said something like, you know, this is how journalists need to be about the interview. And he quote tweeted that and was like, they all agree with each other. It's not journalism. And I'm like, who are you saying agrees with? Like, I don't even know. Did you watch the interview? I certainly don't agree with Slotkin. Like, Sagar and I, the whole premise of our show is we have many disagree. Like, what are you I was so perplexed by what he even meant by that.
And that's total fucking projection, because as soon as he got in with that PBD crew, it was a fucking handjob fest
Yeah,
all
that's
around,
right.
where everybody jacks each other off about how much they agree and how right they are and how anti-woke they are and all that bullshit.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
No, it actually fits very well with, I was just watching the new South Park episode on the way in here.
Amazing. It's so good. Go
And-
watch it right now, y'all.
And one of the storylines is about how it's just like, well, this is the way to pay the bills, is just to say like outrageous, controversial right-wing stuff. And
Right.
that's what Cuomo's doing.
Yeah.
Like, he just was like, oh, well, this is the opening. I can't get back to CNN. So my sort of like mainstream outlet is gone. And, so this is the way to get attention. And so that's what I'm going to do.
And I gotta say, there was a swing and a miss on one person in particular where I thought they were going to do the right-wing grift, and I was wrong.
Don Lemon.
Don Lemon.
I was the one who said that. I'll take the heat on that one.
Me too. I said that shit too.
I thought that was for sure where he was going.
And then he took that car and fucking veered it hard in the other direction and was like, nah, bro, I'm doubling down on being OD liberal.
Good for him.
Yeah, he had
Good
on
for
some.
him.
Did you see this? He had on a Texas lawmaker, Jolanda something.
No.
And she's fucking amazing.
Really?
She's just like, yeah, Trump's a rapist. She just says, like, he's a pedophile. I'm watching this like, yo, this is the energy we need around the whole country. But she had on that guy, and Don Lemon was trying to help her and be like, just so you know, it's like, I know you're a lawyer, so allegedly, right? And she was like, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
That was awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, credit to him. And no, Cuomo's making the like predictable right-wing grift move. And the funny thing is too,
Market's
it's like
saturated. It's
also
over.
so late.
It's over, bro.
Yeah, it's like you missed out. That's the funny thing too, is these people who made the right-wing shift after like the vibe shift had already happened, and you like missed down on the, your years of
the heyday.
COVID denialism or whatever.
Totally.
That's when you needed to get in on this shift. This is going down.
This is like investing in Bitcoin when it had like 100,000. It was worth 100,000 already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that shit's only going one direction, homie. Like,
Well, I don't know.
well, yeah,
Since
maybe
we have
because the
the
government's
federal
going to
government
bail
like
them out.
backstopping the
Of
entire
course.
crypto industry at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey guys, we had an awesome conversation with Jennifer Welch of the I've Had It podcast. She's doing real great work over there, and we really enjoyed it. So definitely sign up below on Substack. You don't want to miss it. It was an awesome.
Do you think you can get any closer to the ceiling there, Smoke? Jesus. He's way up high. Laying down. So yeah, anyway, ain't that, I mean, that's crazy. You know, he's with everything going on in Trump land here in Washington, D.C., with everything going on, he takes this video that he found and he makes a fucking thing about it on his podcast or whatever that is, okay, that he's on. I mean, he's an idiot, okay? He didn't for once think, oh, would she say anything like that? Of course not. She's not that mean-spirited. And this whole debacle for the last week and a half about that damn commercial, Sweeney in jeans, has got the right wing all in a goddamn tizzy here, it seems like. And I know Chris is Democrat, but it seems like he's more Republican thinking now than he ever was. But the thing is that, why are they all up in the air over this? I mean, there's fucking genocide going on in Gaza. Okay, the Israel government is down there slaughtering and letting people starve in that area. Okay, and all we can think to talk about is an AI, AOC, talking about a commercial about jeans and how, men are, you know what I'm saying? It's like, is this the best you can find? You need a staff, Chris. You really do need a staff to choose your topics wisely. Okay, this is something that you don't talk about. I mean, it's just locker room bullshit is what that is. I mean, you just laugh about it. But even people whose minds are in the gutter would have saw that as fake. Okay, because if you look at the video close, you could see her mouth kind of disappear and then reappear. And plus on the top of the screen, it was saying that it was AI. It wasn't real. It was just a parody. Okay, and he totally missed that. It's like, whoa, were you half asleep when you saw that or something? I mean, I get links all the fucking time on YouTube and whatnot of things, and I look at it and you know, I can judge for myself whether it's worthy of discussion or not. And if it's AI, I can usually tell if it is. All right. The day's going to come though when things like that are going to get made, and they won't put any water print on it saying that it's fake. They won't do that, and that's when it's going to become a problem. Because how? Let's just pretend that, you know, that AOC video didn't have a mark on it to say it was a parody, and they were trying to pass it around as real. How could she prove it wasn't her? You know, and other than, like I said, I could see her mouth kind of not matching up with things, and you know, and plus the things that this was saying, she would never say any of that shit. Okay, that's not her. But the fact that, let's just pretend that they could do this, and it would be very hard to detect. How could she prove she didn't say it? It would devolve into a he said, she said thing really fast. And then whose side do you think Republicans are going to take? You know, it's just, like I said, I think that the day is going to come where that's going to end up being a thing of, discussion about whether or not we should still use it, for whatever reason. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Hollywood's using it, okay, but to give it to the general public, and whenever you throw an ability like that to the public, it always gets misused at some point, you know. So I think what they ought to do is, maybe make a law whenever somebody makes these things that they have to be labeled as fake, that it's AI or something. It has to be on there, otherwise you can't post it, So I think that's what they really ought to do. I think it's a must. Okay, it really is a must. I in this day and age, technology is surpassing, for some people, their ability to understand. I think about people that are in their 70s and 80s, and they see this AI shit, and they're like, oh my god, I can't, because they're not really fully aware of what computers can do today, what these apps are capable of and stuff like that. But this guy Cuomo, he should have known better than that. Come on, the problem was he wasn't paying attention. Okay, somebody had that labeled, and he went by the label as, oh, that's true, she said this. And then when somebody pointed out to him that he fell for an AI, he watched it again and then realized, oh, fuck. I put my foot in my mouth, okay? So, yeah. But you see, amateur hour, in politics is really, it's like stepping on a landmine. But I don't think anybody really gives a shit too much about what he says, really. I would say he's less looked at than Ann Coulter. Once in a while his name might come up somewhere, but it's really nothing that's worthy of any media attention. But when it comes up, when somebody does something and they screw up like that on that level, then their name comes up. Okay, then it becomes like viral or whatever you want to call it. People will read that. But like I said, this is an oddball thing for him to discuss when you got all these other things going on. Look, you got Trump out there arming up Washington, D.C. He says, oh, crime is through the roof here. What's the next excuse? Okay, crime isn't up in D.C. Everybody's been saying that the crime is actually down. What is up is crime in Washington, D.C. at a 250-year high. Okay, that's the crime that he really is talking about, not any street thugs or anything like that he's trying to lay blame on for what he's really doing here. And the thing of it is, what he's really doing is that has nothing to do with street crime or whatever. That what's going on is he knows the American people are really getting pissed at him. He's at the lowest approval numbers ever in American history for a president, which means he knows that the public is getting bitchy with him. They've had it up to here. So at some point, some big protest is going to happen, and they're going to march into Washington, and he wants armed people there to repel the fucking march. That's what he wants. He wants to start a goddamn shooting match in Washington, D.C. against this sea of protesters that's bound to show up here at some point before the end of the year, I would think, because he's pissing off everybody. Everybody, and even his own party, he's pissing people off in MAGA. So, you know, when he's got people in his own party cutting and running, you know it's bad. You know it's bad, because these people have no morals to begin with. But if they can't stand him now, because of this, you know, he betrayed them on this Epstein shit and a lot of other things, then, hey, he's in trouble. He's in trouble, and he knows it. He's out there walking on the rooftop of the White House the other day, clearly because he's up there, you know, scoping it out for something. All right, maybe he's thinking about, you know, putting some kind of defense thing up there on the roof of the building. I don't know, you know, but he's not up there just to sit around and talk to the birds. No, there's a reason he was up on the roof, and he ain't telling you. No, he ain't telling anybody why. Okay, so like I said, there's a lot of things to talk about, and this AOC AI thing is just of no real interest here, you know. I think, and at the end of the day, it's just more revealing of the person talking about it than it is about what he's talking about. But yeah, I just when I saw that on there, I was like, you got to be shitting me. This guy fell for that, because I watched it and I knew right off what it was. You know, and you know, you have to be either drunk or, you know, you're half asleep not to have, you know, picked up on it. What's that saying? It's better to be silent and thought of as a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. You know, and I think that's really what sums up this whole thing here about Chris Cuomo. So let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
But I'm a few percent of your love. So I will leave you in your side you have lost. It's
Hi everyone, it's Judge Janine. In case you don't know or recognize the background, I'm at the White House. I just met with the president. We talked about crime in the nation's capital. We talked about fighting crime, and the president is very serious about making sure that as a prosecutor here, that we not only fight crime with a vengeance, but make sure that there are consequences.
Ladies and gentlemen, my favorite person, Judge Janine Pirro, the woman who puts the word she in sloshed. Her latest confirmation as Attorney General for the District of Columbia, I'm personally excited to see what she's going to bring to the table. Other than a box of wine, of course. And I know I've torn into her in the past, but it's really good to see Janine in such high spirits. Or is it high off spirits? Anyway, but I gotta say, I'm really gonna miss her. Over at Fox News, she brought this fierce, intensity and commentary that only someone who left a bottomless brunch could. And some of you may or may not know, she was a real trailblazer over there, being the first person over at Fox News whose teleprompter didn't scroll, it slurred. I mean, it really paved the way for guys like Pete Hegseth. And with JP as the new AG of DC, what could possibly go wrong? With our nation's capital already on fire with the Trump administration corruption, who better than to give the extinguisher to a woman who thinks a plea deal is begging the bartender not to cut her off? And unlike a lot of Donald Trump's picks, Janine actually has courtroom experience under her belt, right next to her flask. From taking the bar to then stopping at one, from sitting on the bench to then sleeping on one after a long night out, but also in her personal life. As I've mentioned in the past, her ex-husband got into a lot of trouble and went to prison for being a white-collar criminal. And Donald Trump pardoned him in the final hours of his presidency during his first term, which gave Janine a lifelong sentence of indentured suck-upitude. Which makes me wonder, did Donald Trump give her the job based off her credentials in law? Or was it because her experience with loyalty to pigs? Let us not forget that her ex-husband not only cheated on her, but fathered a child with another woman while they were still married. And despite that, Janine still sold her soul to Satan Trump in order to get him pardoned. Oh, and she quite literally also has pet pigs. I guess we'll never know. So listen here, Malibu's most wanted Babe Ruth. May your briefs be concise, may your investigations be thorough, and your hangovers mild. Cheers! Anyways, bye!
He said it over and over for years.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. Medicare, Medicaid, none of that stuff is going to be touched.
Nothing.
We're going to love and cherish Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. We're not going to do anything with that.
His biggest MAGA supporters said no cuts to Medicaid.
It is wrong to cut health care for the working poor.
There's a lot of MAGAs on Medicaid. I'm telling you, if you don't think so, you are dead wrong.
The effect of this bill is to break a promise.
Trump lied.
The Medicaid cuts could cause nearly 12 million people to lose their health insurance.
With this mega bill set to enact the largest cuts to Medicaid in decades, experts are warning that many struggling hospitals in rural communities could close their doors.
But they're not cutting it. They're looking at fraud, waste, and abuse.
He thinks you're stupid and he can fool you. He doesn't care about your health insurance. All he wanted was your vote. Donald Trump. It's just not working.
Hey guys, what's up? Have you heard about the blue salt trick for men? This interesting method has been gaining some attention, and if you're looking to boost your performance, energy, and blood flow, this could be the natural solution you've been searching for. So, what exactly is the blue salt trick? It involves using mineral-rich blue salt to improve circulation and support overall vitality. Many people claim it helps with increasing endurance and even boosting performance in the bedroom. Sounds intriguing, right? But here's the catch. Not everyone has access to high-quality blue salt. And even if you do, your body needs more than just minerals to perform at its peak. That's where Nitric Boost Ultra steps, which employs the same method of blue salt trick for men. Nitric Boost Ultra offers a scientifically backed, proven way to naturally supercharge your blood flow. It helps you feel stronger, last longer, and perform at your best with its powerful blend of nitric oxide boosters. One of the key ingredients in Nitric Boost Ultra is L-arginine, an amino acid that helps widen your blood vessels, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to your muscles. This translates to better endurance, faster recovery, and improved performance. It also includes L-citrulline, which works in tandem with L-arginine to maximize blood flow and stamina. But that's not all. Nitric Boost Ultra also contains essential vitamins and natural plant extracts to help your body maintain peak performance without any harmful chemicals or stimulants. No side effects, no jitters, just pure natural energy and strength. If you're thinking about trying the blue salt trick, go ahead. But if you're after a reliable, effective, and scientifically backed way to elevate your performance, Nitric Boost Ultra is your go-to solution. The best part? It's super easy to use. Take 1 scoop of the powder with a glass of water every day, or mix it in a smoothie or tea if you want. Within weeks, you'll feel more energized, stronger, and more confident in every aspect of your life. Ready to unlock your full potential? Don't wait. Try Nitric Boost Ultra today. Grab it directly from the official website to ensure you're getting the real deal. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried the blue salt trick? Or are you excited to give Nitric Boost Ultra a try? Drop a comment below and let's talk. That's all for today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on more tips to keep you at your best. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
I thought I'd just get head spins, not nicotine poisoning.
Oh my god. His vape taped. I wanted to be social. I didn't want the addiction that took over.
I thought it was just a bit of fun, but not being able to breathe because of lung damage is definitely not fun.
It's proven that vapes cause real harm. Every vape is a hit to your health. For more proof, search vaping harms.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I got this other video from the iHip Girls, and they're going to be talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, among other things. You know, they're becoming more and more popular with YouTube watchers and stuff. They've been picking up. They got over a million subscribers there pretty much now, as what I can see here on the screen. 1.01 million subscribers. So they've really gotten a lot of fans there, and I'm glad for them, because you know they have a talent of being able to cut through the bullshit and get get to the meat of a subject, you know. And so I enjoy listening to them when I have the chance to, and it's so I'm glad they're getting some views. And you know, like I said, you know, at the start of the year, what the Democrats need to do more than anything is to grab internet supremacy. They need to grab a hold of the internet and get the messages out from there. Screw the TV. TV's not on their side. The internet is the only place they can go, because that's what the Republicans have been doing. That they all last year they've been spewing shit all over the internet during the campaign, and the Democrats weren't using the internet so much as they were on the TV. Okay, but they were being outspent. So even on the TV, the Republicans were dominating there with commercials, and you know what I'm saying. So like I said, they need to grab a hold of the internet and cling to it, because that's where people's attention is going. That's where they can reach the younger audiences. Okay, that's where they need to dominate, is there. Okay, even Fox News, for all the shit that they say and all the years it's been on the air, even their viewership is down. Okay, people aren't paying much attention to that station. They're getting their shit off of the internet, okay? Or they're getting sound bites from Fox News on the internet, and they're watching that instead, you know? So even at some point, Fox News is going to become irrelevant, you know, because everything's going to be online, you know, which, you know, it's kind of sad in a way, because it'll divide the country further, because your people, depending on where you lean politically, you're either going to watch one side or watch the other, but there's not going to be any in the middle kind of, you know, independent kind of news anymore. So, all right, let's go to that video here, and we'll discuss that on the other side.
Very important to always remember that the 5'10", 285-pound orange McCankles taco tits said about Ghislaine Maxwell, he said, "I wish her well." He refuses to call out her sex crimes towards children. And there's photographic evidence to support this. It's weird how we can't find any pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell with Carter, Obama, Biden, or Harris. Always Trump at the epicenter of this shit show. But in checking in with MAGA women, you guys, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been going through some things, okay? And she's starting to crack the case on some stuff. She's cracking the case a little bit about Gaza and what's going on there. And she's also cracking the case on the MAGA view and lens in which they view women. Brian Tyler Cohen put out the following tweet. Marjorie Taylor Greene says she's starting to think that the GOP is anti-women and anti-worker. She says, "There's women in our party that are really sick and tired of the way men treat Republican women. The GOP has turned its back on the workers and just regular Americans." And, you know, these things are so obvious. We giggle at this, but there is, to me, all of these things signal a warning sign to corporate Dems, because she is starting to show clarity on Gaza. She's starting to show clarity that political parties have abandoned workers. These should be core Democratic base values, anti-war, and we are for workers' rights. And when you see Marjorie Taylor Greene come out and trying to run point in the base on this, she's thinking beyond Trump, because Trump's old as shit. He's like 85 million years old. Its ankles are, you know, as wide as the Mississippi Delta, right? And he, you know, is twitching and dementia is falling in. She is playing long-term here, surprisingly, but that's what she's doing.
Yes, she is. And I've kind of been worried about myself the last few weeks, because I look at Marjorie Taylor Greene and her statements, I agree with them. Some of them I truly agree with, like, we have got to put workers in a better position and stop enriching the oligarchy. We've got to acknowledge women as equals and not the patriarchy. Now, to say all that, I think if Donald Trump patted Marjorie Taylor Greene on the head and said, "Oh, come back into the fold, I want to do this," I think she'd turn on all this in a heartbeat. But I am with you. Democrats are the ones that need to be taking this lead on this message, not Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, and Democrats have historically for years and years and years. My problem is that this is what Trump did. He knew, he took an economic populist message. We have an economic populist politician right now who just won a primary in New York, Zoran Mamdani, and you see a lot of corporate Dems failing to come out and robustly support the will of the Democratic voters in New York. And I think it is a huge, huge error. And I worry that the Marjorie Taylor Greenes that are planning this economic populism into their Twitter feeds right now. I mean, I doubt she's ever going to vote on any of this stuff, but she's starting to outwardly kind of say this stuff. I'm worrisome. It leaves a vacuum for the people who are mid to low informed voters, low information voters. When you just read that by itself and you don't know about this Jewish space lasers and all this other anti-Semitic crazy ass shit that this woman says, it leaves an opening there. And the Democrats have to be very loud and vocal with no ambiguity. And I'm not really seeing that from leadership, not seeing it out of Jeffries. I don't know where Chuck Schumer is. I don't know what's going on with him. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem. All right, moving along, continuing to check in on MAGA women. Jeanine Pirro, was voted by the Senate as U.S. attorney. Pop this up. Internal Fox communications show that Pirro's executive producer, describing her as a, quote, reckless maniac who is, quote, nuts and who promotes, quote, conspiracy theories and, quote, should never be on live television. Perfect. She is the perfect candidate for Donald Trump. What we all have to realize, this is intentional. This is what authoritarians do. They do stuff like this and they flex about it. They flex about corruption openly. They try to normalize it. And Jeanine Pirro is a perfect fit for this morally depraved fascist movement. And I could sit here and go, oh my God, I can't believe he appointed her. Oh my God, she's a maniac. Well, we've all known that forever because incompetence and moral depravity trickles down. What we need to know about the MAGA movement now, and everybody needs to call out triple Trumpers in their lives. You're the party that opposes family. You're the party that opposes child safety. You're the party that is for moral depravity. You are the party that is for sexual depravity. You are the party that is anti-woman, anti-worker, anti-working class, and opposes the troops. And we need to start just pounding it and pounding it and pounding. And also, your leader is BFFs with a pedophile and is about to probably pardon another pedophile. And it just needs to be crystal clear across the board, because what MAGA wants us to do is take the bait on this Jeanine Pirro and go, oh my God, the Senate voted to support another nut. Well, of course they did. Right. I mean, I would be shocked if he actually promoted and the Senate voted for somebody who was qualified. That would shock me more than this Jeanine Pirro thing.
Absolutely. And you look at his appointees, like Jeanine Pirro, her number one qualification for this, other than being on Fox News, is that no matter what Donald Trump tells her to do and who he tells her to prosecute, regardless of evidence, she will do it. Just like Pam Bondi will, just like Kristi Noem. I mean, Pete Hegseth, go down the list. These people are not patriots because they do not care about the Constitution and law. What they care about is making their leader happy. And it is absolutely how it has looked from the jump. I used to just be, oh my gosh, like Pete Hegseth cannot run the military. He's incompetent. And now I'm like, that's why he's in there.
Yeah. Okay. And then single issue politician, genital obsessed psychopath Nancy Mace came out on Twitter this morning, and she's running for South Carolina governor.
A House Republican has drawn the ire of both Democrats and members of her own party.
She has a way of getting under their skin.
Representative Nancy Mace. Firebrand Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace.
She's a fighter. I know about that. She's a fighter.
She learned resilience early on. Mace became the first woman to graduate from South Carolina's famed military college.
You've taken a lot of abuse for standing up for the rights of women.
But what they forget is that, Laura, I'm the first woman to graduate from the Citadel. I will not be bullied into silence.
Nancy Mace scores a huge victory in her fight to keep biological men out of women's bathrooms.
We will be courageous. We will be resilient.
When she sets her sight on something, she's tough.
And we will be prepared to take on the challenges of this historic moment.
Okay, you guys, this is great news. What I want is the craziest of the crazy MAGAs running for big positions. Run for governor, run for Senate, run for House seats. Let's let these nuts run. And we have to just keep putting pressure on the Democrats that we have to rid themselves of these AIPAC donations so that we can go at these people guns blazing, because this is what Nancy Mace does in her spare time. Play this clip.
Favorite things to watch on YouTube these days are the court hearings where illegals are in court and ICE shows up to drag them out of court and deport them. I can think of nothing more American.
How gross is that? That's her porn. Is she's watching people that are going through the process as prescribed by law and they're getting arrested, and she watches it in her spare time.
But you know what? That is a representative of tens of millions of Americans that feel that way.
That's
true. They like it. They are not bothered by the construction of inhumane concentration camps and of people being sent there. Over the weekend, my family and I, we went to a Mexican restaurant, and I looked around, and my son Roman said to me, God, it looks like there's a lot of MAGA people in here. And I thought, you know what? MAGA people shouldn't be able to eat at Mexican restaurants, at Chinese restaurants. Go eat at Cracker Barrel. That's all you get. You get your fat asses and you go eat at Cracker Barrel, because the horror that Latino Americans feel right now, driving to work, driving home, going to their court hearings where it's about their status, their legal status. They're trying to follow all of the rules. And so a lot of them are still here and hiding. And guess what? They're not doing anymore. They're not paying taxes anymore. And it's been a lie perpetuated by MAGA that they're using Medicare and all of these things, which, by the way, if you're a big Christian and you want poor people to receive health care, you should be for that. But, I have found, Pumps, and I know you have too, I have found the bigger the Christian, the bigger the piece of shit that they are.
Well, and I keep thinking that the next shoe will drop when they're talking about alligators eating people and no due process and American citizens being sent to ICE detention facilities. And then it's, a month later before they're released. I made the mistake of bringing that argument up to a MAGA Christian. And the response was, well, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care. And that's really sad.
Yeah.
But that is the prevailing view.
It is. And I believe if you would have probed further, they like it. It's somewhat Pavlovian for them. There's probably a little bit of salivating, thinking about taking away from people and getting more for themselves because they believe they are so much better than everybody else, when in actuality, they're like the worst. All right. And I just want to remind the white women in America, some that I spoke to when Trump came out during this last term, and they were trying to find daylight to justify voting for him. A couple of women said to me, well, he's really pro IVF. And he's going to pay for IVF. Well, Andrew Schultz of the Flagrant podcast is finding out that this was all a lie. And he says, you don't break your word breaks you. And the headline that Andrew Schultz is responding to is, Trump promised to mandate IVF care. The White House says there's no plans to do so. Next slide. Andrew Schultz says, for anyone that is looking for financial assistance with IVF, especially now that @real Donald Trump flip-flopped once again on a campaign promise, please look into @BabyQuest Grants. It's a wonderful charity that they're working with at Flagrant Podcast. And I just want to keep flagging that these manosphere people, and we could do a whole podcast on, oh my God, they helped get him elected and they looked the other way. And they did. They did all of those things. That's what they did. But at this stage in fascism, when we're just trying desperately to get to 2026, anybody that is criticizing him to the base, that has the ear of the base, let them cook. Let them cook. We can get sanctimonious on Joe Rogan and on Schultz and all of these people another day. But if they're willing to cook in front of the MAGA base right now and start the cannibalization, let them cook. All right, that's all we have for today. Please support our podcast by buying our book, Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. And if you're not subscribed yet, for God's sake, subscribe. We want to get to 1 million subs because we really want that trophy. All right, we'll see y'all later.
I find it odd that, she's, first of all, she's coming out trying to sound more liberal than she really is, okay? But let's keep in mind the people that she's supposedly saying, oh, the oligarchs this and the oligarchs that. She's made $21 million, since she's been put in her chair, her seat. She's one of the fucking oligarchs, and she's trying to talk against them, okay? And this shit about her and women and stuff like that, I mean, obviously this is self-serving. She's probably hated where, you know, in Georgia or something. You know what I'm saying? And she's trying to fix her image, but it's too late. We have years of her big mouth saying stuff that was really dumb and nasty, and it's all, you know, what goes on the internet is there forever. She can't undo that. She can't say, "Oh, take all that stuff down." No, it stays, and therefore the evidence is there of what she really is. So she can't change her image like politicians used to be able to do years and years ago, okay? Because what has been said 10, even 15 years ago or more, it's still out there. Okay? So for a person to open their yap in this day and age in front of the cameras, a politician, they better be very careful about what they say, because it will stay. Okay, it will stay on the internet somewhere. There'll be a link to it, and it'll always be there. You can't take it down. You know, everything is there forever. So, you know, these people, as dumb as they are when they try to say that they're smart and they're not, it's a blessing for us that whatever they say stays up here, because then we can go back several years and find out what they really said at one time, you know, and then find out, oh, this isn't what you said years ago. This is how you felt back then, you know, and ask them, you know, why are you saying the opposite now? Okay, so people will question that. But it's like, you know, she wants to get credit for throwing a cup of water on a house fire. You know, she's done nothing. She started the goddamn fire. Okay, it was her, Boebert, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but you know, those three there, when they got the majority in Congress, I mean, they just fucking were difficult and nasty and everything. I mean, she made the situation there so bad that, you know, some of these people left. Okay, some of these people left. And we learned way back when she's not to be believed, that when she talks she's full of bullshit, or she's got an agenda there. She's untrustworthy as hell. Okay, and Democrats shouldn't acknowledge her for saying something that they believe in it. And like, you know, like what the girls say in the video, the Democrats should be the ones saying these things, not Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, they should be the ones out there talking in this stuff, that, you know, the workers are the important people, you know, they're the ones that keep the country running. We are the lifeblood of America. Yeah, sure, you got billionaires putting money into things like that, but without anybody working their factories or their jobs, I mean, what do they got? You know, just a big building with nobody in it. I mean, it's just this, you know, you can't hog all the credit because, oh, I'm the guy that invented this, you know, and then not acknowledge that there's a ton of people behind you. It's like a movie. Imagine if you watched a movie and there were no end credits. Okay? And they never acknowledge all the people that worked to make that film. How would you feel about that? Like, oh, the only people responsible for the movie is 20th Century Fox or Disney, you know, and that's it. And that's all they would say. But all the people, the director, the assistant director, the producer, you know, all those names would never be known to anybody. I mean, that's kind of the way the Republicans think. Because to them, the workers aren't important. Shit all over them. We don't care. You know, we don't care about the fucking workers. We don't care about even the people that are out cleaning your the dumpsters, the trash pick collectors. Nope, they're not important. Okay? You know, this is not the way things work. You know, in a free society, you don't just give all the credit and the kudos to the wealthy, the people, you know, that bankroll these projects. No, without without workers, their money means nothing, because they've got nobody to pay to do the job. So yeah, imagine watching a movie that has no end credits. I mean, yeah, some of you people say, oh, good, then you wouldn't have to. Well, nobody watches them anyway. Okay, you know what I'm saying? People, by and large, will not watch the end credits of a movie. They get up and walk out. Okay? So, and that's a habit that, you know, I've done myself, and I think it's wrong. I think people should sit for the end credits, because, like I said, you know, a movie is not a movie. Doesn't become a movie until it has people making it, and it takes a lot of people to put together a movie. A lot of people, and so you got to acknowledge that work. You know, it's not all accolades to the company that bankrolled it. It's also accolades to those people who acted in it, who worked behind the cameras, you know, did all that work and editing and stuff like that. All that together makes the fucking film, you know. And you can't acknowledge the United States with just the 1% of the wealthy in this country. You have to look at the bigger picture. The United States plus all the 350 million Americans that live in it that make this country what it is. You know, we have to be acknowledged too. And Republicans, like I said, they've done a very good job at making us feel like we don't need to have people. I mean, look what they're doing. They got ICE out there rounding up immigrants, people who are the lifeblood of the country, to keep the food prices down in the grocery stores, which everyone now is noticing that the prices are going up again. Okay, I've noticed here at the stores here, you know, the vegetable stands are getting kind of skimpy there. You know, the selections are getting slim. So there is a need not to be going after these people and taking them away from their jobs. We need these people here. And when they're here, when they buy stuff at the local stores, they're actually contributing to the tax system. So you're hurting the country in more ways than one when you deport these people without cause, without reason. Okay? Most of these people, they said what, almost 90% of the ones that were sent to El Salvador, or that place over there, I can't remember the name of it, Seabac or Sebac, whatever the hell that fucking place is. 90% of them didn't have any criminal record at all, but they were sent there because they had a tattoo of some kind that made them look like they were part of a gang, and the idiots that saw the tattoo didn't know what it meant, but they said, "Oh yeah, you're a gangster." Well, you know, that's going to be news to a lot of women these days that tattoo their bodies, because they all look like gangsters, but that's not what they are. So, you know, anybody out there thinking about tattooing, you better think twice, because some asshole from ICE is probably going to look at that and say, hey, that's a gangster. You know, we're going to take you out of here. Okay? Keep that in mind. It's not safe to be tattooed anymore in this country. Thank God I don't have any tattoos, but the fact is, there's a lot of people, a lot of women that do. More women today, I think, tattoo their bodies than they ever did. It wasn't such a thing when I was a kid, but today, Jesus Christ, everybody's like the whole arm, you know. You might even see a small tattoo, like just a little picture or something, but they all got something, you know. It's like, what the hell? I mean, usually it's the guys that are tattooed from neck to foot, you know. It's like I never understood the need to put ink all over your body. I mean, I don't know, but it's just ridiculous. I mean, even some law enforcement officers and some people in the military are tattooed, and there was a time where the military would say, if you have a tattoo, you couldn't join. Not anymore, because they need the people. They're going to have to ignore the tattoo, and so these people can get in. But before, if you had one, they wouldn't take you. But they can't be fussy now, can they? You know. So, but yeah, I mean, it's very sad, you know, to see you know, where we are today. And it's only been what, 7 months? We're going on 8 months now that Trump's been president, and I shudder to think where we're going to be a year from now. A year from now. And, you know, Trump, like I mentioned in the previous segment, you know, about this build-up around D.C., obviously it's a distraction, as well as preparing for the inevitable, which is, you know, people are going to be marching on that fucking town here before long. But it's a distraction. Like I said, because he doesn't want people talking about the Epstein files, okay? That's his number one concern, people, which means there's some fire there. We're seeing a lot of smoke. There's got to be fire there. This fucking guy wouldn't do anything about it, you know? So he's worried. He is worried. And that is his Achilles heel, is that connection to Epstein. And think about all the stuff that all the distractions he's already tried in the last 2 weeks. Okay? I mean, I've lost count. Almost every day, some kind of breaking news from the White House. You know, and when you hear what the breaking news is, it's just a pile of nothing. Okay? But it's all designed to keep your attention off the lead story, which is the Epstein shit. Okay? Everything else that he's doing is meaningless, or has a different meaning. Okay, like this build-up. It's not about crime in Washington, D.C. It's about covering his ass, getting protection out there. He doesn't feel safe in Washington, D.C. Poor me, right? Woe is me. He's a selfish man, so naturally it's all about him that they're out there, okay? But it has nothing to do about the crime in D.C. Nothing. And those poor people that he's got tapped to guard the White House or whatever, or to guard D.C., they're being used, but they're being paid to be used, okay? You know, they're there, but they think they're there for a different reason. It has nothing to do with the crime, okay? But they're there because when the time comes, the call will come to them that they're going to have to turn their weapons on fellow Americans that are out there exercising their right to protest. That's when the shit's going to hit the fan, okay? And I think what's happening is that he knows he's not, because he understands that if the longer he doesn't answer the Epstein bullshit, the angrier people are going to get. He knows that inevitably the people are going to start coming to D.C. and they're going to start camping out there and protesting and everything. And that's what he doesn't want to see happen. He doesn't want that anywhere within sight. He's sitting here building a, how much was it? $400 million ballroom? I think that's what it was. I can't remember how much the price tag was. But, you know, he's sitting there talking about that. Like, that's... who the hell ever fucking thinks about stuff like that, you know, when you're the president? When all these things are going on, he's talking about building a ballroom. No. And a lot of Americans don't approve of it. I think I saw a internet polling thing that was quickly done, and most Americans don't think that a ballroom is needed. They managed to do a lot of things without it before, so this is just, you know, Trump, like I said, trying to staple himself in annals of, I don't know, history in some fashion. That way no one can ever ignore that he was the president. But I got news for him. If anybody goes in there after he's dead and buried, they are free to tear down that fucking ballroom and put the garden back the way it was. So nothing, you know, that would be money wasted, yeah, but at least he wouldn't have to be reminded of his fucking ass every time somebody goes down there to tour the Capitol. You know, I don't care how many flagpoles he puts up around the White House. It's still a place of sin and greed while he's in it. He can decorate it all he wants to make it look patriotic, but we all know what's really behind those flags. Okay? While he's in that fucking chair in the White House, he's up to no good. Every day he's trying to figure out some of the scheme, you know. And I feel like, you know, with Republicans getting mad at him, and the Democrats been mad at him, I think the anger is eventually going to be the unifying force in this country against him. First it was the hate that divided us, and it's going to be the hate that brings us together, because we're all going to start hating him for the same fucking reason. He's fucking up our lives. Okay? All the promises that he made to his MAGA base out there, he's broken every fucking one of them. He's broken every promise. He ain't going to do a goddamn thing for these people. He got what he wanted for them, their vote, and that was all he wanted. But now, he's going to need their vote again, and he's afraid he ain't going to get it. That's why he's got Governor Abbott down in Texas doing this redistricting scheme so he can grab 5 extra seats for the Congress. And I'm thinking, why bother, Trump? You ain't listening to the Congress. You're not listening to the Senate. You're not listening to the fucking Supreme Court. Why do you fucking care about who wins what in what house? You've been doing your job by assigning goddamn executive orders till they come out of your ears. You don't care about what they think. You've been running your show like a dictatorship. And now all of a sudden you care about what the Congress thinks and what the Senate thinks? No. Don't give us that. You're worried over nothing. You're getting paranoid is what it is, okay? You never gave a shit about them. While the Congress has been dicking around all summer long doing nothing for nobody, okay? You've been doing all kinds of shit. You've gotten more things done in a bad way than you would have if you'd have had to rely on the Congress and the Senate and use the process as it's laid out. You never would have got as much of this shit done as you did this year. Okay, it's only because you signed everything into activation immediately and went over the heads of our system to get it done. Okay, which is basically ignoring the whole point of we the people. Okay, it's just me, Trump. So him getting all upset that he possibly lose the Republican control when the Republicans are turning on him, it's irrational thinking. He shouldn't even give it a fucking second or third or even a fifth thought, okay? All he's got to do is keep doing what he's been doing, and he can keep sailing through the next 3 years of his presidency doing just that, okay? And anybody else that bitches about it, be damned, So, like I said, I don't understand this sudden concern from him to try to push Abbott to do this thing in Texas to essentially cheat before the fact so he can turn the whole state red. Okay, I don't understand that, why he's getting all upset. But all it's going to do is trigger the Democrat governors to do the same in their states, to make them all blue, and then what are you going to end up having? Every state either turning red or blue, and it's like, okay, now the states are becoming their own entities. Now they're becoming separate from the federal government because they don't want to partake in the system as it was laid out by the founders. They've kind of rejected it by default, So I don't know how the midterms are going to shake down next year, but it's going to be a shit show, I can tell you right now. All next year, it's going to be a shit show, just like last year was with the campaign for presidency. It's going to be a shit show from the right wing, and I'm sure that it's not going to make things easy for the public to sit back and watch. And I think that's another reason why Trump is trying to arm up DC, because of the next year, the midterms are going to stir up a shitstorm of political anger and stuff like that in this country. And I don't know. Usually election years are always the most violent in this country during a political, period or something like that. But it's going to be extra so, I think, next year, because after this year of Trump turning his back on everybody that supported him, and he's been sticking it to people that are keeping this country alive, next year the fallout from all of this year is going to come down hard, and I'm pretty sure that's one big reason why he's got this concern about arming Washington D.C. not for crime, but for cover his ass, protect him. He's worried that he's going to get gunned down probably somewhere. Someone's going to have a fit. Because we have a lot of loose cannons in this country. That's one of the things we're noted for in the United States, is we got a sea of loose cannons out there because we don't take care of the mentally ill in this country. They're out on the street. Just the other day, there was a guy holding a sign up on where the Bangor Mall is there, on the corner. His sign says, "I am Jesus Christ." Well, he had a wheelbarrow full of stuff, and one of the police cars was there talking to this guy. And I I was like saying, anybody like that, could all one day pick up a gun and you'd see his name in the fucking news, and we got a lot of these people in this country at large. I mean, especially in the big cities. So, you're playing with fire, Trump. You're playing with fire. All right, so that's it for today, everybody, and I hope you all have a great rest of the week. So subscribe, comment, share, keep your ears open for health issues, and be nice to your neighbors and try to be helpful with them, and maybe good karma will come back to you. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.